Nova Scotia might become the first province in Canada to require social media sites verify the ages of all users. This from the Nova Scotia Liberal Party. As parents, we want our kids to grow up safe and supported. The Social Media Responsibility Act would make Nova Scotia the first province in Canada to set a minimum age of 16 for social media use. So is this all about protecting the kids, or is something more nefarious going on? Let's get into it. Won't somebody please think of the children? We've seen this 1,000 times before, guys. Every time liberty comes under attack, they pretend that they're keeping you safe. Welcome to Johnny Says So, everybody. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe to the channel on your way in. Now, there's no doubt in my mind, at least, that social media use by children has had a huge detrimental effect on their mental health and development. But I'm not convinced that legislation like this is the solution. So let's take a look.
Nova Scotia's Liberals say there are good reasons to legislate limits on social media use by kids.
We're seeing higher rates of anxiety, depression, and even suicidal ideation among kids who spend too much time on these platforms.
Okay, so he's not exactly wrong about that. Now, the last 15 years or so really has been an experiment that we've all watched play out in real time. Now, if you've never read the book The Anxious Generation by Jonathan Haidt, I can't recommend it enough. And this graph here comes right from the book. So this is the prevalence of anxiety in different age groups across the United States, and you can clearly see that it's quite the problem in younger generations. 18 to 25 is way higher than everybody else. Now, the author pretty much blames the problem squarely on the advent of the smartphone and social media. I mean, we had social media when I was a kid, but we had MySpace and MSN Messenger. We used these things on our home computers, and then we went out into the real world. We didn't constantly have them in our pockets, and we weren't getting constant dopamine hits from constant notifications and comparing ourselves to others. Now, I can't imagine what this is like for children growing up today to be constantly reached all the time by their bullies. So I do get it, but I'm not convinced that the government is going to offer the solution.
This legislation would set a minimum age of 16 to access social media accounts in Nova Scotia.
In the last provincial election, the Liberals were reduced to just 2 seats, so they would need the support of the governing PCs to pass the bill.
And they will get the support of Tim Houston, mark my words.
Still, the move is significant, says this tech expert.
And it is politically savvy for a party that isn't in power to at least raise it right as everyone is going back to school to make sure that it's front and center on the public agenda.
In December of last year, Australia became the first country to approve a social media ban for people under 16. The ban kicks in later this year.
That's right, guys. Australia is indeed the testing ground for this, and they're talking about this all over the European Union. So there definitely is a push across Western liberal governments to implement this policy, and I wonder why.
But implementation has been difficult.
You're talking about the government now needing to have a process to collect huge amounts of identification information, thus presenting other issues and risks, for example, around cybersecurity and privacy.
So that right there gets to the heart of the matter of my problem with this legislation. Who is going to be collecting the data? He really says the quiet part out loud there. This is going to be a huge breach of privacy. Is it going to be the social media sites that are going to be demanding your identification? Is it your internet service provider? Or is it going to be the government? Because if so, this is going to have a huge chilling effect of freedom of expression on the internet. Now, some people might say that this is a good thing. It'll, do away with anonymous online trolls. But it will also stifle whistleblowers and make people self-censor in a way. I don't think it's a good thing.
Still, some Canadians believe political support is key in a battle many parents are fighting privately. This mom of 4 is a volunteer with Unplugged Canada.
Okay, many parents are fighting this battle privately, and that's how it should be done.
Which recently called on the federal government to implement a social media law like Australia's.
Kids can't just walk into an R-rated movie or can't just buy harmful addictive products like cigarettes.
Kids absolutely can walk into an R-rated movie, and they can get their hands on cigarettes and vapes. Kids will always find a way, and it's going to be the adults that are going to have to deal with the ramifications of this.
The online world is still the Wild West.
The group is also working on persuading interested parents to pledge they'll delay giving their kids smartphones. The Nova Scotia bill is expected to be tabled in the fall. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
Now, of course, what's really ridiculous about this whole thing is that she just offered the solution right there. You, as a parent, can pledge to delay giving your child a smartphone. That is an option that has always been on the table. It is up to the parents to control what children can and can't do. And if they're pressured by other kids who have smartphones, you just tell them, too bad. That's your responsibility as a parent. Now, I want to get into this clip here because people in Australia are already starting to blow the whistle on just how terrible this legislation is going to be for Australians. Let's take a look.
First, to the so-called social media ban, which threatens to place extraordinary restrictions on the internet, driven, of course, by our overzealous lawmakers and power-hungry bureaucrats.
YouTube will join its stablemates in the social media landscape, including Instagram, TikTok and Snapchat, as part of the government's social media ban for those under the age of 16 that will come into effect in December of this year.
The legislation isn't what it first appears to be. Labor went to the election with a very minimalistic sell on these laws. It was about the kids. It was about preventing harm, and it was about only keeping that harm away from vulnerable kids. But even worse, the laws don't make any sense, because for all of the government's bluster about harm on social media, the laws do nothing to prevent harm. All they do is force age verification for account holders. That is it. Children can still access YouTube and watch whatever non-age restricted content that they want. The laws don't do what they say they will. So what really is going on here? It isn't even just about social media. Labor also wants to force you to verify your age to have a search engine account. Liberal Senator Alex Antic explains.
The Internet Search Engine Services Online Safety Code, as we've heard today, is set to come into effect in December this year. And what it is going to effectively do is require internet search engine providers to confirm the age of their account holders, amongst a range of other things that we've heard this evening. But the crux to this is, what this will mean is that every Australian will be locked out of their Google account, their Yahoo account, their Microsoft account until they verify their age, which I think is quite incredible. I think it's unbelievable, actually.
If this happens, it is the death of a free and open internet. It has nothing to do with children and everything to do with surveillance.
Nothing to do with safety, everything to do with surveillance, and the death of the free and open internet as we know it. That, my friends, is what I truly believe is going on here. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you think this is a well-intentioned effort to keep kids safe? Or do you think this could be the beginning of a digital ID? Something that was just a conspiracy theory just a few short years ago. But that's going to be it for my show tonight, guys. So let me know what you think in the comments. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Johnny from Nova Scotia says thank you. Hey, Johnny from Nouvelle-Écosse, il dit merci, thank you.
Thanks to you.
Thank you so much. Perfect. Yeah, come on.